Welcome back to the Blk in Real Life podcast. I'm Anuli. This is episode 5 of the limited docuseries Black to School, where I take you along on my 5-year pursuit of a doctoral degree in 6 episodes. The 5 individual thought diary segments that you will hear in today's program were originally recorded between September 2023 through April 2024. In this episode, I'm racing the clock to graduate before my fellowship funds run out as I turn my attention to writing my dissertation while also navigating everyday life in Atlanta and university bureaucracy. I'm so fucking mad right now because it's like, no matter how organized I am, how much I communicate, and I'm checking out, asking questions all these years to make sure I'm on track to do what the fuck I said I was going to do. No matter how much I try to control and manage, y'all still find a way to fuck me over because y'all have too much admin turnover. Year after year, new person. And somewhere, shit falls through the cracks. And now y'all got me Y'all trying to make me fall through the cracks. I plan to graduate spring 2024 because I have a 5-year stipend and that's how much I'm funded for. Ain't no spring 2026. So y'all gotta update your checklist form because I did everything I had to do. And I asked questions through. I have emails that said what the fuck I did when I did it that was approved. I have that shit in writing. So there's no way you're about to fix your fingers to type on some document you made up that doesn't even have correct updated information to say I'm going to graduate in spring 2026, 7 years for what? Y'all got 2 extra years of money? Because I don't. So we trying to finish in 2024 because that's what the fund is for and that's when it ends. And I did all my work. And before I moved to Atlanta, I cleaned everything up. I said, can y'all confirm that I've done everything that I need to do, that I'm a candidate, that I'm an MPhil? I have an email that say, yeah, congratulations, you're a candidate, you've done it. Because how would I now become a candidate if I didn't complete my fucking classes? That doesn't make sense. You don't even have the up-to-date dates of when I completed my exams. I had to give that to you. And we talked about this last month and y'all still come to me a month later with this shit is not even updated. This don't even reflect nothing we talked about last week. Now you're talking about, oh, you need to be taking these courses for the culture and media. I opted out in 2020. I had that whole conversation. So what is you really saying right now? Somebody didn't do their job and it's not me. And I'm over here trying to write a dissertation so I can finish in fucking May 2024. There is no 2026. So y'all gotta stop the fucking cap. The irony of my life never escapes me. So it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I have a few hours to kill in between church. I went to church earlier and then in about an hour or so I'm supposed to meet a friend at an art show. Usually at this point in my PhD research, I've personally kind of been going to less art themed events just because they remind me or they make me think so much of work, or I might see people that I worked with for my project. Not that I'm trying to avoid anybody, but like if it's, for example, a Sunday, I'm not necessarily trying to work, but that speaks to like the hybridity of life and also the hybridity of being someone who studies creative labor. It is literally everywhere. So the only difference between like the events I go to for my work and the events I go to like for my own personal interests is the intention behind going to the events. Like there are times where I'll go to an event when I was doing field work and I'm like, okay, I'm at this event because it's something to include in my field work or to write about for my field work or to meet people for my field work, where now I'm outside of the field, but I still live in the field, right? I still live in the Atlanta area. So it makes it harder to makes it harder for the field work to stop, right? Because I'm still in the field in a way, which is literally what I study. There is no work-life balance when your body's in a line. I'm still physically here, that I can go to an event from the intention of an event could be like my own personal interest in the arts and still hear or see or experience something that makes me think about my work. There is no balance. That's literally the thesis, right? There is, like, the idea of work-life balance is a fallacy at best, right? It's imaginary. What we bring into our space is like the intention behind what we're doing. So me going to the art event with my friends later, that's my intent. My intention to go is to experience it, have fun with my friends, and not think about my work per se, or not, talk to people for the purpose of my field work. But like I said, I had some hours to kill, and what do I choose to do? I decide, hey, I'm also trying not to spend a lot of money either. So I was like, I'm just going to hang out at a coffee shop, get a coffee, and read some of the, excerpts that I've written, chapters I've written for the dissertation to date. So yeah, I'm working. But, I work whenever I choose to work at this point because, again, hybridity. So I decided to read, kind of do some work today. So I was like, usually I work at home or I'll work at a library. I usually don't work in coffee shops just because I can get overstimulated easily, and just all the sounds and the people, just a lot of action for me. But because I'm like in between, and I didn't want to necessarily go home and then come back out. So I was like, okay, let me go to a coffee shop. It's a Sunday. I'll do that. And I just brought my iPad with me, so not like heavy work either. Just literally this reading my own words and doing some putting some things together. So I'm at Blk Coffee, which is a Black woman-owned, I believe she's like Black and Native woman-owned coffee shop here in Atlanta. Is this considered? It's not Southwest per se, and it's not necessarily properly in what is demarcated as Bankhead right now either, but it's close enough. So it's called Blk Coffee, West Side of West Atlanta. So I was like, I like that coffee shop. I think it's the home of Hot Coffee, which is the same brand, like a Black and Native woman-owned coffee brand out of Atlanta, like a hometown coffee brand, and I like their coffee. So I was like, let me just work out of here, because it's actually near the art show that I'm supposed to go to. So I'm like working, they're open till 6, says the sign. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna hang out here because, a lot of places close. I'm like, I'm gonna hang out here because I don't have to meet my friends until like 4. The irony that I bring up is that I am now about to leave early. It's like about to be 3, and I'm leaving early because an event, the coffee shop and like this whole West Side Motor Lounge where the coffee shop is located in is actually going to be closed for a private event. So they told they told us patrons, like, hey, there's actually going to be an event here tonight. Like, even the staff member, she didn't even know there's going to be an event. There's going to be an event here tonight. You need to set up, which means like you all have to leave. So it's like, oh. So I'm like seeing all, like this team of like white and Black people who work for, who are producing this event, come and set up. And it's like, like photography set up and all these people in all Black. I've definitely worked in marketing before, so I know like a branded event. So I look and I'm trying to see like who's running this event. I see a sign that says Amazon. And so essentially Amazon is doing an event to highlight Black-owned businesses. So one of the people is like this white guy who's wearing like a varsity jacket that said support Black-owned businesses. And I just thought that was ironic because I'm here literally supporting Black-owned businesses by like patronizing them, being a customer, and us customers are being kicked out so y'all could have your branded event to talk about the things you do for Black-owned businesses for this one day. But anyway, I just thought that was funny. So it's like I can't really escape my research because you're seeing like how, this tech institution like Amazon and all their like, let's call it white corporate dollars, are using are using this Black-owned business or partnering with this Black-owned business to highlight this business and, kind of purport their company to be like this beacon of diversity and inclusion. And here I am reading my dissertation about similar topics in which like the only time like a Black entity or Black person is seen as valuable is in the role of artist or creator when their work can be used on some sort of like market, capitalist marketplace. So us people here supporting the business as just everyday customers have to now leave so the corporate entity can throw themselves a self-congratulatory party to talk about how well they support these businesses. That's all I know about the event, is that it's sponsored by Amazon. It looks like it's going to be a true marketing event. It just reminds me of the type of events our team would do like when I worked at Edelman. So it looks like it will be well run. The location is actually a good location for it. I just was like, there wasn't a sign at the coffee shop. There was a sign at West Side Motor Lounge when I like came to the area that there was going to be a private event. So I thought it was just at their bar, but there wasn't a sign that the coffee shop was going to close early. And obviously like even the staff member didn't realize when she like clocked into work that an event would be happening. So it's just funny that here I am studying what I study, and now I'm experiencing like the corporatization of like Black creative and Black cultural production live and direct. And I'm in my car about to be like, well, I still have an hour to kill because literally I'm only 5 minutes away from the event. I could have gone to like, they had like other things happening today, but like again, I'm really trying not to like go to things that will encourage me to spend money. So I was like, I'll pay for a little coffee because I need a caffeine. I'm still a little tired because it's the day after daylight savings. And yeah, so now what I'm about to do is go to the Atlanta Contemporary because they close at 4. So I can hang around and explore. Even though I've already seen the exhibit, I'll see it again because they close at 4. And then once they close, I'll go to this event, which is the Black Boy Art Show. So again, art is everywhere. Like my life is art. Like I attend art events leisurely, but it's a part of the work that I'm interested in. So how do you balance the idea of like not working? Like there was another event that I could have gone to, and it actually had some people that I worked with for my research there hosting, serving as panelists. But again, I'm like, this is definitely exactly like, would love to support them, but again, not trying to be like too heavy-handed and like me thinking like basically, it's not just the idea of thinking about my research, it's the premise of gathering new data. Like I just didn't want to be in a situation where I knew for a fact that I would gather new data. The data collection got to be done. That's the only way to like remain living here in Atlanta and to like progress on writing my dissertation and still like kind of live in Atlanta, is to be very intentional with myself that the data collection is done. If I see something that inspires me kind of by osmosis, fine, but like me intentionally going to places where I know the data collection can happen is different. But then again, like I said, that's the hybridity of it all, because anywhere I go could be something for data. That's why my advisors were like, you still in Atlanta? Like, a lot of people usually come back to New York afterwards, but here's the thing. I ain't trying to be in New York again, ever. Like, it's my life now. Right? Like, I know it's my work, but it's also my life. Like, as a human being outside of being an anthropologist, I simply do not want to live in New York. I simply want to remain in Atlanta. Like, when I finish the dissertation project, I'm here. Like, I'm not looking for jobs and positions outside of Atlanta. Like, I want to remain in Atlanta at this point. So that is that work-life hybridity. I am literally living it. I'm literally a contract worker, because my contract with NYU ends spring 2024, which is why I'm trying to finish this dissertation, because that's the contract. They say they pay you for 5 years, and I've said this before. They pay you for 5 years. Do they expect you to finish in 5? No, but they only pay you for 5. I'm like, let's do the math. We has to go, because where is the money coming from to extend? So anyway, so I'm trying to finish, but I just thought that was funny, and I thought I would record this to be like, the work is literally everywhere. Like, all these companies trying to patronize Black-owned businesses through their little diversity inclusion initiatives, and I'm over here actually trying to support them on a day-to-day, and yeah, it's a difference. So, I just got in the car, and I am at where am I? I'm at the park. I'm at the park that's near my house. I went on a little hot girl walk, as I do, because it's 72 degrees today in February, and I'm like, let me go outside. Let me get some fresh air. What time is it? Let's see. It's 6:03, and I've been writing, so, ooh, that's on me. No, it's not. Okay. These cars coming for me. I've been writing all day. Like, I go to the gym in the morning. It's Monday. Oh, thank you. Cars everywhere. Everyone is at the park today because it's such a beautiful day in February. So I go to the gym in the morning, like 6 a.m. I'm there at the gym with the Grind to Shine fam, and then I come home, and it depends on the day. I might take a nap, depending on how the gym was. I might take a little nap, because before I get home before 8. So I might take a nap. I might feel motivated to just start working. I might eat, then work, chill, whatever. I try to keep my mornings to myself as much as I can. And then I do my most focused work in the afternoon. That's just the way I am. But sometimes I might just have the motivation to start working in the morning, and I'll work all day, which was today, because I'm working on the conclusion chapter. And I'm really just trying to wrap up this dissertation this week so I can submit it to my committee chair. I said I was going to submit it by in February, so you're going to get it in February. It's just going to be February 29th. The very last day of February. Thank you for this leap year extra day. So you're still getting it in February. The full draft, everything. I feel great about it. I feel like this is the work that I am meant to be doing. But it's very funny. So I was at the park, and usually when I'm at the park, let's see. So I'm driving cars everywhere. Usually when I'm at the park, I like to either listen to music or I listen to an audiobook. Sometimes I just might listen to the ambient noise of everyday life walking in the park. But today I chose to listen to an audiobook. Right now I'm currently listening to the audiobook of Erasure, which was the movie which was the book that was adapted to make the movie American Fiction. But today I was like, let me search it up, because I got a new book to borrow from the Libby app, which is how you can check out audiobooks from your public library. Love libraries. So the book that I got was a book that I've been actually trying to read for years. But I wanted to listen to it as an audiobook because there are just certain books that I just prefer as audiobooks, and one genre of books that I prefer as audiobooks are like books about creativity. It's just the way I like to experience those books. Like Rick Rubin's book was really good as an audiobook. So the book that I got in, it finally came in, and I think it's been months, definitely months since I even was like, oh, let me look into this book. Literally months. And it finally was available, and that book was Julia Cameron's An Artist's Way. So this is my first time, let me check the date for you. Today's date is, the 26th. Okay, February 26th. And I am listening to The Artist's Way for the first time. Obviously, it's like a book that's in pop culture. I've heard of it before, but I haven't read it. Right? I haven't, engaged with it on my own. But I'm listening to it, and I was like, I didn't realize that these things that I do already, down to, my research is what she's talking about. But here's the thing about it. People who have read the book, I don't want them to now go and be like, oh, your book is a derivative of The Artist's Way. Please do not play me like that. Because I'm writing my conclusion and just opening this book for the first time in my life. And certain things that she says, the practice of going on artist dates, I do that all the time. I call it artist dates. I didn't know that that's what it's called in her book, but taking yourself out to these excursions to kind of tantalize your creative senses. I do that all the time because I'm with myself all the time. I had an artist date the other week. I have artist dates weekly, low key, because I'm always going to artistic events or doing creative stuff even before I started this project. That's just me. I love an adventure, and I love making up my own adventures. And creative practices. So that was one thing that struck to me. And then her emphasis on the artist as creator and the connection to God and spirituality, that's all up in my project. But again, I didn't get that from her. I got that from Black women. I got that from Zora Neale Hurston. I got that from Alice Walker. I got that from Toni Morrison. I got that from Toni K. Bambara. My use of the words creator and connecting the artistic practice to having a whole sense of self from the spirit out, that wasn't from Julia Cameron's book, but that's a key theme in her book. I got that from Black women. So I just thought I would make this little note just to set for the record. Let's time stamp it because it's Monday, February 26th. It's 6 p.m., 6:09 specifically, and I'm just coming home from the park where I listened to the audiobook of The Artist's Way for the first time. I'm not even too far in, really. I don't even think I got to the first section yet, because I just walked a cute little mile and a half at the park today. I just needed the fresh air. But yeah, there's a lot of connections between my work and the bits that I'm gathering from why people like The Artist's Way, and Cameron's intention in crafting the book and her own journey of the self as she was, learning these practices for herself. But I'm please do not write my work off as a derivative of this, because the woman whose work I'm citing and the genealogy that I'm even cited from a historical perspective has existed long before Cameron published this book. I know this book is about over 25 years. I mean, Zora Neale Hurston was talking about characteristics of Negro expression how many years ago? Exactly. We're talking about decades. We're talking about Alice Walker even using the words artist and creator together. That's the essay came out in the 70s, the book came out in the 80s. Let's, please. So I'm just putting this for the record. Do not write off anything I do or anything that these scholars do as a derivative of anything a white person does. I'm going to just clock it right now, okay? Let's clock that shit right now. Okay, so anyway, I'm home and I'm actually excited to write now. I just needed some fresh air, but the chapter I've been chugging along on, because this is a chapter where I really establish or just kind of pull together the breadcrumbs that I was dropping throughout the whole dissertation and kind of show you the loaf, okay? And the loaf is this approach to ethnographic research that I call crazy quilt ethnography, and you'll learn about that in the dissertation, but it's really kind of pulling together like an interpolation of all of these, women whose works I cited and their approach to, creative production and knowledge production. So I hope you enjoy it, because I've enjoyed writing it. I enjoyed putting it together. I feel like I'm really sitting on something special here, and I love it for me, and I love it for you. I hope you love it for you too. But either way, I'm going to be good regardless. I think I'm very proud of the work that I did. I am very proud of the work that I did as a scholar and as an artist. Good morning. Thank you all for your support of my scholarship. I look forward to today's discussion. I would like to start by offering brief remarks about my study. I began my doctoral journey with a working hypothesis that the symbolic, social, and cultural capital of Black people serves as the greatest resource of the new media landscape. In my original project proposal, I sought to examine this phenomenon through the experiences and perspectives of Black social media influencers in Atlanta. However, by the time I arrived to Atlanta to conduct my formal fieldwork, the content creation houses that I had hoped to serve as my primary field sites had dissolved. Because of this, I immediately adapted to expand my scope to focus on a broader swath of workers that I have come to refer to as creative contract workers. I did this to connect the labor of social media influencing to a larger cultural analysis of contract work. For the purposes of this project, I broadly define creative contract work as precarious, non-standard employment arrangements within creative and cultural industries where human creativity is the ultimate resource. The full field immersion portion of this ethnographic study took place over a year of focused fieldwork in Atlanta from July 2022 through January 2024. During this period, I examined the work lives of 43 Black creative contract workers. These workers included, but are not limited to, social media influencers, visual artists, poets, comedians, musicians, and marketing consultants. My fieldwork experience involved participant observation in the workspaces of my collaborators, which included public social media pages, public events, public environments such as office buildings and art institutions, and private homes and art studios, both in person and virtually. One problem that I will highlight today that really motivated me to pursue this project is that tech-centric narratives that foreground places in the American West, such as Silicon Valley, currently overwhelm the popular discourse on contract work. This, to me, ignores a much more dynamic history of contract labor in the United States that existed before what is referred to today as the gigification of work. Atlanta is a prime field site for the study of race and labor, in part because more than half of America's Black population resides in the South. Moreover, Atlanta has overtaken Chicago as home to the second largest concentration of Black people in the United States after metropolitan New York. I applied Black feminist thought as well as identity formation theories such as W.E.B. Du Bois's concept of double consciousness and critical race theories such as Kimberly Crenshaw's concept of intersectionality to Nancy Bayham's scholarship on relational labor. I did this in order to examine how the legacy of slavery continues to pervade the social fabric of the United States. This study is significant in its reorientation of Du Bois's double consciousness and Crenshaw's intersectionality back to their shared roots in workplace discrimination. Building on these frameworks, my study decenters industrial and wage work as its scholarly focus in order to explain why workers who have been historically marginalized continue to pursue self-determination and liberation across physical and digital environments through non-standard work arrangements. Among my key research discoveries were that my collaborators view field and home as existing in the same ecosystem, rather than as separate entities that they must strive to balance. Furthermore, I learned that they make distinctions between labor activities that they deem as connected to their soul or inner voice and labor activities that they deem as disconnected from their spiritual center. In chapter 3 of my dissertation, comedian David Perdue puts this point most concisely, where he makes a distinction between comedy gigs that he takes on because of the art of it versus comedy gigs that he takes on because of the business. And for him, business is the economic realities of having to pay for gas, rent, bills of that nature, versus the art and the craft of comedic storytelling. Some of the workers that I collaborated with intentionally managed both standard and alternative work arrangements, maintaining wage jobs in different industries to support their creative work. In many instances, fictive kin relationships and non-familial friendships serve as sources of both spiritual and economic support for these workers. This study suggests that the freedom to imagine otherwise, to quote Christina Sharp, helps to explain why Atlanta has led all other American metro areas in Black in-migration or people moving within their own country for the past 4 decades. I recommend that the discourse about the relationship between work and home expand to prioritize the role of the soul and the influence of fictive kinship in motivating how people think about the work that they do. My study offers an important contribution to the field of cultural anthropology because it reorients our collective understanding of contract labor by contextualizing it as one of the oldest forms of labor with origins in the American South, rather than as a novel and contemporary concept developed by technology companies in the American West. By offering this restorative mapping or this critical intervention of creative work and contemporary life, my scholarship draws attention to the ways in which both have been shaped by Black people in the American South. I additionally introduced the praxis of crazy quilt ethnography to open up an inclusive dialogue between the academy and the public that extols the virtues of anthropological research as a means to simultaneously make the unfamiliar familiar and the familiar unfamiliar. I will conclude my remarks by reiterating that the majority of Black people in the United States now reside in the South. This presents a major opportunity for future studies to examine the work lives of Black creative workers, Black creative contract workers in southern cities beyond Atlanta, because the South has even more to share. Thank you for your time. I was just, thinking as I drive about the fact that, around this time last year I was recovering from a concussion. I had fell while roller skating on concrete. And long story short, I wasn't wearing a helmet. Don't get on me for that. Whatever. Long story short. Anyway, so I fell backwards on concrete. Never fell roller skating before. All that time I had a concussion. Anyway, so when it happened, I was still fairly new to Atlanta, and I didn't have community or just a lot of people I knew. Like my interactions with people were more transactional because they were like my research, not like, like friends outside of like, that was my job. Like my research was my job. So I hadn't cultivated like, true connection beyond the transactional of like the researcher participant thing. I didn't get to that point yet. Still. So when I had fallen, I didn't have anyone I could call. Like maybe like 2 people, and neither were able to show up for whatever reasons it was. And that made me really sad because I knew people in the city, but I didn't have anybody I could call in like an emergency. And I'm not the type of person that asks for help a lot because I just have grown to be very self-sufficient and haven't moved around quite a bit in my adult life since I turned 18. I've lived in Boston, I've lived in D.C., Chicago, New York, Atlanta. Like, I move around on my own for work or school. It's one of the main reasons, like, when people say, like, oh, you're a graduate and you're going to go back to New York. No. A, I don't want to move again, and B, I definitely don't want to move back to New York. I'm done with that. But I'm also just, like, I want to stay in Atlanta because over the past year, I've established roots here. Like, I have community. I have people here that care about me. And that's a beautiful thing. Like, God forbid, if something like a roller skating accident happened again, I fell and I just needed someone to drive me to the hospital, because I did have to go to the hospital that night. And I drove myself home. And then my mom was like, you might be bleeding internally, you need to go to the hospital. But, again, didn't have anyone to call to take me there, so I took a Uber. I'm not even crying now, just I have something in my throat. But, took an Uber to the hospital. It was a Tesla, it was funny. If that happened, again, God forbid, if that happened now, a year later, I have so many people I could reach out to and call, and I know that somebody would come for me, right? Somebody will show up for me. Somebody will support me, and I've had many instances in my life where the few times I've asked for, support or showing up or something, I didn't get that. So it just makes me so grateful how much has evolved in a year. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Atlanta. It's like sunny in the 70s. And I'm just driving to the car wash. And I'm just reflecting on how much things have changed. Like, I have such a beautiful community here in Atlanta. Many people I met through my research, but also people I just met through living in the community, living life, and participating in civil life here. There's like people at church, like, I have a church home and I'm active, and today was actually the first day that I sang on stage as a member of the worship team. Like, I did the Easter play. That was my first time singing on stage, like seriously. Because usually I've done karaoke before, but to me that's just like funsies. But this was like, I'm here as a performer singing. So I did the Easter play with the worship team, but now I'm like a member of the worship team, and that's beautiful to have a church home, Cornerstone ATL, to have people who check in and like, how's your dissertation going? We can't wait to celebrate you. Like, thank you for volunteering, or thank you for showing up. Like, that's beautiful. And then I have like the gym. I go to the loft, but even within there, I have the Grind to Shine performance team, and just people that I see on a basically daily basis. I see them 4 times a week. And to see how we show up for each other, and to see that, like, we encourage each other. It's just a beautiful community, really, because it's like, it's hard to wake up in the morning, be there at 6 a.m. to work out, and it's easier to do it when you're with, like, really amazing people who are just positive and encouraging and warm and stuff. So it's just to reflect on how much I have evolved as a person, and it's less because of whatever rich minerals are in the dirt here in Atlanta has nourished me in a transformative way. That even these things I'm doing, even like going to the gym and singing in a worship team, are things I'm doing to like stretch myself as a person, as a human being, to do new things. Because I'm not an athlete. I never was like that kid that is doing sports. I probably would have got picked last if we did dodgeball stuff, like that stereotype. So to be working hard at the gym, feeling strong, seeing even the mental shift in my attitude, going from like, I don't want to do that, to like, okay, I will try that. I will give it a shot. And even with singing, it's like, this is new to me, but even doing it scared anyways. Like, I've just grown so much, and I really have Atlanta in this space to thank for that, because it's kind of hard to do that in New York. Like, I had a church home in New York. I had fitness things that I did, but it's just different here because I kind of did that for survival in New York, because just like life is hard. So you try to find ways to cope, but right now it's not coping. It's really just like creating a routine, creating ritual, feeling safe and at peace. And I love the friends that I've made. I love the community that I've cultivated, and I think there's just more to grow and more to know. And I don't want to leave. At least now, life is seasonal, cyclical, all that. I'm not in a season where I want to leave, and it's hard now because I don't know what the future holds for this PhD and what happens next. A lot of people might say, well, why don't you apply for jobs outside of Atlanta, like cast a wider net? But why? I'm tired of moving for work. I'm tired of moving for school, and I just want to, if I finally found a place, because maybe my mom was right, I was searching in my 20s, trying to find where I fit. I finally found a place where I think I could thrive, like on a personal level. And I hope soon on a professional level as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. I just haven't secured the right one for me at this time. And talking to other people who are in similar places, whether they're younger than me or older than me, it's just like we're all kind of going through. I'm at the car wash. Hold on. I love the car wash. I like the lights. We're all kind of just going through similar journeys in life and just trying to figure out not who we are, but where we can be our full selves.
You have just listened to an episode of the Blk Irl podcast. I'm your producer, host, and everything in between, Anuli Akanabu. If you enjoyed this episode, then please take a moment to leave a podcast review and share the show with everyone you know. You can also follow Blk Irl on Instagram at Blk Irl. Visit the Blk Irl website at www.blkirl.com. I appreciate every listener who has been with me from the start and everyone who is just tuning in. Your engagement and feedback mean the world to me. The music for this program was composed by me, Anuli Akanabu, for Blk Irl in collaboration with Private Astronaut. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, stay black, stay real, and stay tuned.